So in this video, we want to figure out how we can make our keyboard go away when we press the send mail button right now. So when we run our application and we press add a message, hi, send mail, we see our keyboard stays here. So how can we make our keyboard go away? Well, this time we're actually going to call a function. And a function is just some bit of functionality or some sort of action or bit of code that we want to run when we call it. So in this case, we want the keyboard to go away, and this is a function of the enter message text field. The text field knows how to make the keyboard go away. So it automatically shows the keyboard when we click in, but we have to explicitly tell it, okay, go ahead and remove the keyboard. We can do that using, again, this dot notation. So we're going to say enter message text field, and we're going to do dot resign first responder, and we're going to see this auto completes here. So we're going to hit return here. And notice it has the two parentheses going each way at the end here. Now this is a signal that this is a function, even though we're using this dot notation so that we don't confuse it with an attribute. We're not updating an attribute here. We're not setting this equal to anything or assigning it a value. We're just saying, okay, make this thing happen. Specifically, resign first responder, make the keyboard go away, right? That's how you can kind of translate that in your mind. Now, one of the cool things we can do here, we highlighted this and it showed up in our quick help here, or we can hold down the Alt key and press on this. It'll actually tell us, what this function does. Now, right now, if you're new to computer programming, this is going to seem super technical, but it says notifies the receiver that has been asked to relinquish its status as a first responder. And first responder, for our purposes, basically means that this is the text field that's currently showing the keyboard off. So by calling this function, and we say that we're calling the function here, using this dot notation here, we're saying, okay, the enter message text field knows how to make the keyboard go away. So using this dot notation resign first responder, and we know it's a function because of these parentheses at the end, the keyboard will go away when we press the send mail button. Pressed IB action from our button. So let's go ahead and see if this works. And let's press message here. And we're going to go to enter message and let's press hi. And we see that now our keyboard goes away when we press this send mail button. Now, the other thing we're going to do in this video is we're going to be adjusting our storyboard a little bit. And it's kind of, the reason we're going to be doing this is to really just show off that we can adjust our UI elements even after we've started writing some code. I don't want you to get too attached to some sort of design, because when you're writing actual applications, you're going to be moving things in the storyboard all the time. And I want you to be comfortable doing that after you've hooked things up and you've, kind of started writing your code here. So we're going to go ahead and select everything but our label. Make sure you don't have your label selected here. You can also drag these things one at a time, right? We don't want to get these things too low. And the reason for that is that right now, we don't really have a way of shifting our view up. When we start selecting items inside of our view controller, we don't want the keyboard to hide our buttons or our text fields. So we're actually going to move our send mail button up. So we're going to move it right next to our stamp here. And let's shrink it so it doesn't eclipse it here. And let's enlarge our label a little bit here. So we're going to be able to have a larger label here. And this will just give us a little bit more space in case we want to write like a longer message to someone. And actually, let's move this down just a little bit. And this will give our label enough space to work with here. We'll be adding an additional label in the future, and we'll be putting that right here for the name. And that'll be part of a challenge we'll have in our future. We'll talk about that when we get there. But for now, we now have our label and it's larger. And we have our button and our stamp and our text field. So all we've done is kind of rearrange these items. So we can really use this drag and drop functionality. And these blue guiding lines will really help us kind of line things up nicely inside of our application. So let's just run this, make sure nothing broke. Always a good idea to check to make sure your application is still working. And let's enter a message here. We can do like hi again. Just press send mail. We see our keyboard still going away. We've just rearranged this. Our label's now at the top. And our send mail button has been moved above our text fields.